The modern dairy is a remarkable combination of innovation, sustainability, and efficiency. Cows are producing more milk than ever, but farmers have reduced their carbon footprint by 60% since the 1950s. There are over 40,000 dairy farms in the United States that fuel the demand for fluid milk and milk products. As a result, 9 million dairy cows calve and are milked annually. About 30% of those calves grow up themselves to be elite milk producers. So what happens to the remaining 70%, or roughly 6 million calves? These dairy genetic animals become part of the nation's beef supply. That's right, 15% to 20% of the cattle slaughtered in the US are dairy animals. Unfortunately, these animals present challenges for the beef supply chain, including poor feed conversion and efficiency, carcass yield, and muscle shape. The economics governing these dairy calves are problematic, to say nothing of the unnecessary added resources and energy required to absorb what might be considered a byproduct of dairy production. Calf ranches and feeder finishers are finding it more difficult to find the economic incentives to feed these dairy genetic cattle. The poultry and pork industries over the last 50 years have made drastic improvements in feed efficiency and uniformity through genetic selection. Modern broilers are eating nearly half the amount of feed needed to grow the same weight 40 years ago. And at 1.6 pounds of feed per body weight gained, industry leaders believe there's still lots of room for improvement. Like the dairy industry, the level of innovation and move towards sustainability in both pork and poultry industries has been nothing short of phenomenal. The modern beef producer is 4 decades behind other protein categories when it comes to genetic selection and breeding for purely terminal characteristics. On many beef operations, when selecting sires, greater weight of decisions are being made on the 15% of the herd that would be retained as breeding heifers and not on the 85% of the calf crop for feedlots and eventually the packing rate. Modern feedlots expect feed conversion rates to be in the 6.5 to 1 on beef genetic animals and potentially 7s when it comes to finishing a dairy genetic animal. However, there are beef animals that are significantly better converters than the average. You heard me right. There are beef animals converting in the 4 to 1 range, and this trait seems to be highly heritable. Using genetic leading techniques, the team behind NexGen-PureBEEF has evaluated hundreds of thousands of cattle to identify the true genetic anomalies for feed conversion as well as carcass yield and quality. We have established a scoring system represented as dollars terminal, representing the dollar cost savings or benefit intensity for the narrow trait selections. These foundation cattle represent a nucleus herd from which future germplasm will be derived. The donor females have an average dollar terminal value of $213, and embryos were fertilized with a bull that boasts a $234 dollar terminal advantage. We have developed a unique proprietary system for identifying and verifying these genetic outliers in the population. We have utilized IVF technology to allow these high magnitude donor females to contribute maximally to this foundational population. To date, we have created 150 elite embryos from this unique genetic population, and we have implanted nearly 100 embryos on 3 different dairies in Illinois, Michigan, and Wisconsin. On the same farms, we have also AI bred a correlating number of cows with semen from the same bull used to fertilize the elite embryos. This test will establish the genetic value of the dam by comparing elite donor calves with traditional AI bred calves. These calves will be raised together through finish, and a total lifetime cost and value will be measured. This will include individual feed conversions, daily gains, health throughout the feeding stage, and then carcass qualities, including tenderness and taste panels. The first calves will be born March 2021.